Asmongold is backtracking his support for Trump and Israel as their approval nosedives. Despite a year of daily praise, Asmongold now claims he never trusted Trump. And he says protecting Israel is America first, despite prior calls for protests to be jailed. Don't look at Donald Trump. Donald Trump was not in the files at all. Donald Trump was not related to Jeffrey Epstein at all. And they went through and basically hid every single instance of Donald Trump, with the exception of one photo that they missed. Okay? And the reason why we know that they absolutely heavily redacted Donald Trump is partially because there were plenty of photos of Donald Trump that the House Oversight Committee had actually released from the Epstein files, okay, ahead of time. None of them were in the Epstein files, okay? And this photo, file 468 from the Epstein files that includes Donald Trump, has reportedly now been removed from the DOJ site release per Oversight Dems. So we found this photo on stream, and we realized when we found this photo that they had forgotten to redact Donald Trump in this photo because he wasn't the main thing in the photo, right? Because he was in the actual cupboard, in the actual drawer, they forgot to redact this photo. So this is one of the only photos in the entire Jeffrey Epstein files where they forgot to remove Donald Trump or redact Donald Trump. Only because it most likely slipped past the AI detectors, or it most likely slipped past the 200 different Department of Justice auditors and lawyers that were looking at this, because it was in the cupboard and you can barely see his face. Now they deleted this photo as well. They took it out of the Department of Justice release after people noticed that they had failed to redact one of the photos of Donald Trump. It's like they're trying to look guilty. It's so insane. And we know this not only because of the discrepancy, but we also know this because Todd Blanche, former Trump defense attorney Todd Blanche, current Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, sent a statement to congressional Republicans in which he admitted that not only had they redacted 1,200 victims from the Epstein files in order to preserve and protect their identities, but they had also redacted the names and identifiers in the same exact standards applied to the victims of politically exposed individuals and government officials. Yeah, from the Epstein files, during one of those encounters with Epstein, he took her to Mar-a-Lago where he introduced her to its owner, Donald J. Trump. Introducing the 14-year-old Doe to Donald J. Trump, Epstein elbowed Trump, playfully asking him, referring to Doe, "This is a good one, right?" Trump smiled and nodded in agreement. They both chuckled, and Doe felt uncomfortable, but at the time was too young to understand why. And the suspicion is maybe they didn't redact like all of the mentions of Donald J. Trump, but instead redacted the mentions of Donald Trump. But it's pretty crazy. It is crazy that they were so heavy-handed and so incompetent that they up again, as I told you they would. And now they're overcorrecting and deleting with a heavy hand whatever mentions of Donald Trump even exist. Part of this is because obviously there is an overwhelming amount of data here, and it's very difficult to just, I guess, even with the months and months that they had. Thank you, Chatter. This is a beautiful drawing. I love it. At least you didn't make me look bald this time, so respect. Are they incompetent, or is there a Q leaving breadcrumbs? No, man, they're incompetent, okay? They're incompetent. Never rely on the Democrats to actually do the right thing and fight back. Always expect the administration to be incompetent. Always. What is this? Is this photo real, not a joke? What? No, I don't think this is real. No, it's not. It's not. Don't be mean. MAGA cult is waiting for new instructions on how to defend child sex trafficking. But the thing is, like, people have seen these files. Rokan has seen these files. I'm going to talk to him directly today in about half an hour. And Thomas Massie has seen it. One of the major things that Thomas Massie said yesterday that I thought was very important was by the time Friday rolled around, if they did not have 20 to 25 co-conspirators, men that were outed as engaging in illicit acts alongside Jeffrey Epstein, that would imply that they actually redacted the names of all of those co-conspirators. And we do not have 20 to 25 names right now. You see, you feel me? And the only place where we know the same number 25, the only reason why we know that the 25 number, aside from Thomas Massey, was mentioned was in the Ghislaine Maxwell court deposition, or the court filings for Ghislaine Maxwell, where in the court filings that they did not redact, they say there were 25 co-conspirators. There were 25 co-conspirators who got separate deals. Okay? So obviously, very clearly these guys just went in with the heavy black ink pen and just took out every mention of Trump and Trump affiliates and maybe even like other super wealthy people. Okay? Every day that goes by as like the Alex Joneses of the world actively try to defend the Trump administration, and like the QAnon guys try to still hold on to a crumb of hope for Donald Trump being the pedophile destroyer, is another day where they are further vindicated in their initial suspicion that there is this like deep state elite pedophilic cabal taking place. And it's so funny that they literally ran on that. That was their galvanizing principle. That was what they organized around. The notion that there are like elites that are engaging in illicit sexual acts. And there is this deep state pedophilic conspiracy. And now that there is more evidence to suggest that maybe it's not a conspiracy theory, but it could be real, every single person that ran on that is turning around and going, no, but actually Donald Trump is not a part of the cover-up. It's not. He's not. Please don't say it. Please don't say Donald Trump is part of the cover-up. Don't. That's not the case. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. It's like you got everything you wanted. You're getting proof, more proof than ever before, more proof than just dumbasses made up on 4chan about how like elites are actually ordering child sex slaves, like they're ordering pizza by using code words. That wasn't the case. It turns out they were just straight up saying it. There are pieces of the court documents that came out where Jeffrey Epstein is mad that one of the people that was trafficking minors for him was actually trafficking people over the age of 18. He just straight up says, I need to see identification to make sure that this victim is under the age of 18. Like that's how flagrant it is. That's how open it is. There's no like cheese pizza, hot dog mentions or anything like that. They're just straight up being like young child now. It's crazy. Why couldn't it be both? I mean, the reason why it can't be both is because there's no evidence for one, and there is a tremendous amount of evidence for the other. Okay? So, as I said, as I called initially, that the Trump administration was going to try and dangle red meat in front of the base to try to get them to focus their attention on Bill Clinton, who is a known co-conspirator of Jeffrey Epstein. They did. They redacted everybody except for Bill Clinton, okay? They redacted Donald Trump from the files. They redacted other financial elite from the files. And the only person that they seemingly did not redact that was a politically relevant individual was Bill Clinton, okay? The other thing that I also said was that they would absolutely fail to do this because they would sign up, and they did. And the way that this up now invites even more scrutiny. It makes them look even more guilty. Okay? So that's where we're at. That is where we are currently at. The two different angles that are the one angle that the media is covering is the fact that Donald Trump and his DOJ very clearly eliminated mentions of Donald Trump, including going back in after they released this, deleting the photo from the Epstein dossiers. Oversight Democrats called it out. Yesterday, we found out that one of the few mentions of Donald Trump, one of the few images of Donald Trump in the Epstein files was this photo. Today, the photo is gone. Why would you do that? You're stupid. Why would you openly engage in this? Why would you delete mentions of Donald Trump after the fact, dumbass? You look even more guilty now. It's out in the open. That's so crazy. Here it is. This photo, file 468 from the Epstein files that includes Donald Trump, has apparently now been removed from the DOJ release. Attorney General Pam Bondi, is this true? What else is being covered up? We need transparency for the American public. It's so crazy that they did this. Like, it's so crazy they got called out. And instead of just like letting it sit there and be like, no, what are you talking about? See, of course we didn't redact Donald Trump. They chose to delete it, dude. Are you kidding me? It's kind of them just saying, law, we don't care. Yeah, except you can't entertain that. You can entertain that when you got, Reagan numbers, but you can't entertain that when you don't have Reagan numbers. When you have Trump 2 numbers, you can't running around and being like, what are you going to do about it? Yeah, we're not giving our own base this information that they desire after running on delivering this information to our own base. Dude, there's no way they're going to go crazy over it. They're going to lose their minds over it. This is going to piss off the normies, as I've already told you, okay? And I need you to understand something. This is Trump's least popular position with his own base of support. Republicans have never really deviated away from Donald Trump on any of the issues. Usually, it's 80% approval on virtually all of his policies, with the exception of this. On the Epstein files and the mishandling, Republicans have a 54% disapproval rating on Donald Trump's handling or mishandling of the Epstein files. 54%. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, oh, it's just only a marginal majority of Republicans that don't like this. That's crazy. You need to understand that needs to be compared with the 80% approval for everything else. Donald Trump, everything else, okay? And yet Republicans seemingly are still on board with everything. They still show 80% approval, 80% approval, 80% approval, no matter what. Even Asmongold took Trump's dick out of his mouth on this one. Yeah, because he's seeing the tea leaves, okay? That's the other thing. Just like with Israel, Asmongold, who spent the last 2 years consistently complaining that I and many others needed to be deplatformed because we were anti-Semitic terrorists, has now turned around and is like defending Puka Nakua and saying like the primary party responsible for anti-Semitism growing in America is Israel. That's my take. You called me anti-Semitic terrorist for that for 2 years. He went from demanding that every college campus protester get deported or fired or thrown in prison or something to saying, well, we really got to deal with this Israel. Yeah. Asmongold is backtracking his support for Trump and Israel as their approval nosedives. Despite a year of daily praise, Asmongold now claims he never trusted Trump. And he says protecting Israel is America first, despite prior calls for protests to be jailed. Protesting Israel is America first, despite prior calls for protests to be jailed and deported. And I love that this guy says 1 year from now. Actually, guys, oh, no, never mind. I thought there was a defense of Asmongold. There are people that I've seen defending Asmongold being like, well, he changed his mind. No, he didn't. Idiot. Last week, he was still saying, I'm the primary vector of anti-Semitism growing on this platform. My opinions didn't change. His did. One must ask the question, why? As a matter of fact, even when people in my community, after October 7, were like, I don't want to hear from you. I can't believe you wouldn't immediately say like these guys are, you know, barbaric super rapist monsters and have no emancipatory need here whatsoever. And how dare you say this is you know, Israel's responsibility after 75 years of apartheid and ethnic cleansing. Everyone that left this community realized perhaps I was right and they might have been wrong. Asmongold 100% spent the last 2 years going after every single person that called out Israel with maximum intensity. He aligned himself with Ethan Klein. He was one of the major advocates for deplatforming. And I kept calling it out. And I said, how is this free speech? How is this free speech? How is this free speech? And now that Donald Trump is losing his motion, losing his momentum, he is slowly going to back away. Okay? And I told you this already. I told you this from the start. His subreddit was partnering with the ADL. Partnering with the ADL to deplatform people like Morgan, deplatform people like myself, deplatform other pro-Palestinian content creators. And now he's over here talking about partnering up with Nick Fuentes, an actual anti-Semite, while simultaneously taking a stronger stance against Israel. So what changed? Did Asmongold's mind change? No, of course not. He's a grifter. And I promise you, even tomorrow, he will still turn around and say Hasan is actually an anti-Semite and he needs to be banned, while simultaneously going based on Nick Fuentes clips praising Adolf Hitler. None of this matters to him. None of this matters to many in his audience either. They just want, they want to get W's. They want to get a victory on what they have perceived is a political opposition that's like ruining their lives, making the platform of Twitch more woke, right?
Isn't it time for Asmongold to stop sucking Trump's dick? I've been very critical of Trump regularly. If you,
I told you when the winds turn, he's gonna stop saying "yeah, based." Did I not?
you look at any of my commentary discussing things that he's done, you'll see that I'm extremely critical of him, even more so recently since the Epstein stuff. So this is just, it's again, just the typical Reddit, one-dimensional thinking, because, you know, you couldn't vote for Kamala Harris. If she was going to do something, she would have. So, yeah, you didn't even vote? Of course I didn't vote. Why would I vote if I don't feel like the candidate represents my viewpoints and my values to a degree that I feel confident voting for them? And I think that I've been proven right. I have been. I think I've been proven right with that. And I voted for this? Yeah. I mean, if I had known he was going to do this, I would have voted for him. I would have. Like, I 100%. I didn't vote for Donald Trump, but if I did, I would say that I voted for this. This is better than watching. I've been waiting for this to happen ever since BLM. This is what I voted for? Well, I'll tell you guys, how many of you guys that voted for Trump, you're getting even, it's even better than what you would hope for. You know he wrote this. Yep, this is what I voted for. Yep. To Iran, support for the Houthi terrorists must end immediately. Beware, because America will hold you fully accountable and we won't be nice about it. Hell will rain down upon you like nothing you have ever seen before. What I voted for Trump to do was like what he did with the DEI stuff on day one. What I voted for him to do is what he did with, like, for example, Iran. You didn't vote? Yeah, exactly. But I would have voted. If I would have voted, that would have been what I voted for. Did Trump earn your vote by now? If I could go back.
Yeah, this doesn't even do the amount of glazing he did / justice. Yes. This is not even a fraction of the glazing. I mean, every day, yeah, based, yeah, based, yeah, based. Every single time, dude, he went nutty mode. He was blowing bubbles on Trump's dick every day. Not only did he blow bubbles on Trump's dick, I mean, he openly stated it too. Aside from the Epstein stuff, Trump is doing exactly what he said he would do. Maybe there's too many crying Karens on social media, so they're afraid of the optics. But this seems so dishonest. It won't work either. The bridge is burned, and those people will always hate them. Okay? I voted for none of this. Prominent influencers, including Theo Von, Joe Rogan, Andrew Schultz, are trying to distance themselves from the president. He thought there was more farming to be done on October 6, 2025. So he was still standing. But I promise you, the point is going to come. The day is going to come where he's like, oh, yeah, Trump is not great. Not great at all, actually. Not based. Guys, Trump was not based. Never liked him. Never liked him. Yeah. This is why I always say, like, it's unimaginably easy to grift to the right. They are so stoked to hear someone go, the president that we voted for is awesome. Okay? And because he doesn't have any sort of like ideological conviction beyond owning libtards or whatever, okay? Beyond owning libtards and assuming that it's like liberalism that's responsible for video games being destroyed somehow, okay? That he doesn't have a real stake in this. If tomorrow his audience was like, that's a bridge too far for me, I'm done with this, he's still glazing Trump, he would magically overnight change his opinion and then make it seem like he actually had a sincere change of heart. That's a grift. That is a grift. Now compare that to my advocacy over the course of the past 13 years. Public advocacy on issues, not on candidates, not on politicians, but issues. Issues first. And these are try to act like I'm a grifter. Doubt it, Asman always goes against the chat. He is at the mercy of his community. And if you can't see it, he's at the mercy of the broader sentiment expressed by his community. 100%. He bans dissent in his chat. He rarely ever tackles people who have serious disagreements. I yell at right-wingers in here that come into this community. I yell at leftists that come into this community with regular frequency that try to do the like holier than thou, woker than that. I'm pretty open about my positions and have been for a decade plus. Okay? There are tens of thousands of hours of advocacy that you can tap into to see where I'm at. You're simply coping. He's a grifter and a fascist piece. We should remember this man might single-handedly bring back the bubonic plague. The plague is spread. Okay, dude. That's it. Realistically, even if Trump released the files, unless it condemned him and other elites, many people would say it was edited and fake. I watched his comments on Ghislaine today. I didn't get the impression he was considering a pardon. Why are people saying this? Again, wrong. They're saying this because he implied it. They're saying this because his own personal defense attorney, Todd Blanche, who is now the deputy attorney general, went and floated that idea. Okay? You just really can't stop thinking about him, huh? Rent-free and everything. Sad, very sad to see you come to this. Yeah. Asmongold has talked more times about me on his broadcast every single day, demanded my deplatforming. I've never even demanded Asmongold get deplatformed. Sucks this. Numbers on the board. Asmongold has a 100-to-1 ratio to my commentary on him versus his commentary on me. You could say it's delusional. Facts are still facts. This is projection. It makes you feel bad in the off chance that you see me covering Asmongold, especially because he's doing a serious attitude shift right now because he smells that there's blood in the water, and you can cope all day. But if you look at Asmongold's YouTube channels, if you look at Asmongold's YouTube channel versus my YouTube channel, what I choose to actually cut from my stream and post on my YouTube channel, for every 2 videos on Asmongold that I do as the largest political commentary person on this platform now, botted or not botted, doesn't matter, versus how much he talks about me, there is a major disparity. Okay? Bro just learned word projection yesterday and he's testing it out. Yeah, exactly. Ad hominem incoming. Yeah. You have no counterfactuals. This is an ad hominem. Bro went on a whole fake campaign against Twitch just to try and hurt us on. Exactly. Exactly. And now he knows the ship is sinking. And as I said, over and over again, when the ship is sinking, he's going to pull out. He's going to pull out. He's going to be like, yeah, I like Trump for the anti-immigrant stuff, but this Israel stuff is not for me. Okay? And I said this already. I told you this. He went from defending Donald Trump trying to deport Mahmoud Khalil for participating in anti-Israel protests on Columbia campus to now talking about how the number one spreader of anti-Semitism is actually Israel. It took 2 years, but he's there now.
In time and vote for him, I absolutely would. I did not think that he was going to go this hard at all. Is it time?
We have featured more than 1,000 anti-Semites on our platforms. 1,000. Feature them publicly, clearly, and with evidence.
I might be misremembering, but I think you said you DM'd him on Twitter about how he's wrong about that. I did. He was spreading so much misinformation about the Mahmoud Khalil case, specifically about what the Constitution protects and what the Constitution doesn't protect. I told him directly, I DM'd him directly, and I said, Asmongold, you are wrong. The First Amendment does protect citizens and non-citizens alike. Okay? It's expansive. He really wasn't. You are just delusional. Wait, what? Asmondad was a Hasan fan? He really wasn't. You were just delusional? I don't know why you're bringing up Asmondad in this conversation, especially in a way that is like, that makes you look delusional. I have no issues with Asmongold's dad. I even reached out to Asmongold at the time to offer my condolences. I don't want to talk about Asmongold's dad. It's not relevant in this conversation at all. But I promise you, you're the one who is saying weird. Not only are you fighting an internet battle for a person that doesn't know who you are, but now you're also just like bringing up totally random things that do not favor you at all. Yeah, we love Asmondad in this community. Rest in peace. Anyway.
We have featured more than 1,000 anti-Semites on our platforms. 1,000. Feature them publicly, clearly, and with evidence. The results speak for themselves.
The evidence, by the way, is like maliciously edited clips and things like that. Everybody who's part of the America First agenda should view being listed on this website as a qualification to run for office. If you get listed on this website as being an enemy of the goals of Israel, then you are actually America First. Like, you can't say this about Palestine, you can't say this about Israel, and somebody who's an activist for this is going to be criticized in this way. It's ridiculous. They try to dox, mislabel, defame, slander, and misrepresent anybody who goes against their interests, and then creating a chilling effect across the entire country to prevent negative discourse about a country.
Asmongold collab with the ADL to try to get me and others deplatformed for criticizing Israel for the past 2 years. He supported every Trump initiative on this for days, virtually every single day for the last 2 years. He has demanded that I get deplatformed. Others who are anti-Israel get deplatformed, consistently called him anti-Semitic. Here, the most insane version of events, is the Sabra Hummus Gate. Okay? Sabra Hummus Gate. Asmongold did a ton of videos. Talking about how anti-Semitic all of the people that participated in the Sabra Hummus thing were, and how they must be deplatformed. And his community ran with that like crazy. All the while, they were calling Nick Fuentes based. He also bragged about getting game devs fired for tweets he didn't like. Exactly. These guys are major hypocrites. His community was upvoting ADL. Hassan's anti-Semitism visualized. The head of the ADL on CNN claiming Hassan's extremist rhetoric radicalized a DC shooter. Last week, Asmongold, without any evidence whatsoever, connected an anti-Semitic hate crime conducted by ISIS affiliates in Australia back to me and my community. That very same week, he talked about how base Nick Fuentes was for saying Adolf Hitler is awesome. Do you understand? Do you understand? Insane that is. The ADL is putting pressure on Twitch again. It's time for Asmon's harvest again. #1 farmer in Twitch. Damn. And that just after Hassan's claim that his radical viewpoints don't cause any negative PR for Twitch. Yet here we are again. This is Dan Saltman, and he's the one who's leading the charge against Twitch's double standards and anti-Semitism culture. Literally Dan versus Dan. The ADL can be ridiculous at times, but in this case, he's 200% right. Hamas Diddy Piker is openly propagandizing Terry organizations and recruiting people to become Terrys themselves. He's no different than your garden variety extremist imam strapping bomb vests to brainwash guys. He's on your dick right now, per usual. If he's on my dick, he could at least talk to me, but he can't because he is terrified that there are those in his audience who also don't with Israel now, okay, or never with Israel, who would call into question whether or not he is a sincere political actor. He is capable of presenting himself as this like honest guy by living in filth. Every one of his fans goes, oh, he obviously doesn't care about anything. He doesn't care about money. He still lives in this like filthy home, right? So clearly he's like honest, not realizing that you can live in a situation like that. And that's marketing, I guess, to a certain degree when your position, your worldview is inconsistent. You look to someone like myself and you go, oh, Hassan is a socialist, but he dresses nice. He showers daily. He has a nice home to live in with his family. Okay. And it's clean. Obviously that's hypocritical. Look to my output. Listen to my words. My positions on things do not change. You're caught up in the aesthetics of it all.
They only have the power that you let them have. And so if you see something like this happening, you can just simply get enough people together and then make it stop happening. But AIPAC pays them so much, you have to get a lot of people together. Yeah, it's by the way, that's going to happen. It's going in that direction, and they can't stop it. People don't want their country run by a foreign power. And I think that it's snowballing very, very...
Yeah, he's too scared to talk to me, so he talks about me. In an environment where he can control the narrative. In an environment where he can easily lie. Because anyone that actually goes into his chat and goes, hey, you're wrong about this actually, here's what Hassan actually said, instantly banned. Whereas when Asmongold's fans come in here, I actually enjoy having a conversation with them. And I would totally have a conversation with Asmongold. He's the one who's ducking me. He's the one who unironically refuses to have a conversation with me. He's the one who's worried about having a conversation with me. He won't even watch the live stream when I'm talking about him, when he knows. Why would he ever talk to you when you offend him every time you mention him? Do you think that if we had a conversation, where first of all, offend him every time you mention him, what's more offensive? Demanding that I deplatform because I'm a terrorist? Or saying objectively that this person who has presented himself as not showering daily doesn't shower daily? What's more offensive, you think? Because one is an opinion, a very negatively framed opinion, that actually is inviting financial harm and sometimes even actively saying that the government should take action, or in moments where the government has taken action against someone like myself for, advocating for positions that he apparently now holds as well, saying it doesn't go far enough. That's not offensive. That's not mean. That's not up. But me saying Asmongold doesn't shower, something that he personally has admitted to over and over again, that's offensive. The soy right have no consistency here. Both are not good. Brother, do you not see difference here? I'm not negatively framing something. You think it's negative that he doesn't shower, okay? And you're upset that I'm mentioning something that he has mentioned. That's a part of his brand. I like how both of you are talking about each other right now like kids. Again, very silly. We don't have to do this back and forth. He's the reason why this is a back and forth. We can talk to one another. I have always stated, anytime, any place, that I am willing to have a conversation with Asmongold, and I will be respectful. He's the one who runs away from it. So if you have an issue with that, go ask Asmongold why he has an issue with it. Okay? Go ask Asmongold why he wants to talk about me, but not to me. You play victim. Again, I'm not doing that at all. I'm the one who's saying I'm down to have a conversation with him directly. I'm not playing victim. I'm not a victim at all. I don't give that Asmongold has called me a terrorist over and over again, especially because now he's crawling back to the Israel is a dangerous entity that has unironically warped American politics so disastrously positioned. He's saying it himself now. So what happened? The reason why he doesn't want to talk to me is because his viewpoints do not hold up, because they are inconsistent. That's the reason why he won't have this conversation. That's the reason why he's always running away from these sorts of contentious conversations.
Very fast.
That Mahmoud Khalil is removable under the Secretary of State Marco Rubio's assertion that his continued presence and his actions in the United States actually compromise foreign policy and political priorities. That's very stunning, because that is actually the only thing that she ruled on today. She did not rule on the other allegations that were raised by DHS, that he allegedly misrepresented information on his green card application.
None of that matters. It doesn't have to matter. Like, they can just deport him for whatever reason they want. That's what the rules say. I said this at the beginning. Everybody was getting mad at me for saying this, but like, it's a fact. Yeah, that's what the rules say. Though? No, it's not.
What I do is revoke visas, and it's very simple. A visa is not a right; it is a privilege. People apply for student visas to come into the United States and study.
That's right. Get out, bro. Get them out. This is what I voted for. It's crazy that left-wing people have gotten flanked so bad that this is now a position that they have to fight against.
That would Ms. Os.
What happened? Yeah, I did. I already added him. I said the rats are escaping the sinking ship. Asmongold commended the ADL when they were getting pro-Palestinian CC's deplatformed for criticizing Israel for the past 2 years. He supported Trump deporting Mahmoud Khalil. Now he's trying to pivot to an anti-Israel position. Is there any solace knowing that the winds are changing in roach infestment basements? Yes, there is some solace there. I will welcome everyone with open arms. Okay? As long as they arrive at the correct side on this issue, it's great. My fear, of course, isn't necessarily that they will arrive in the anti-Israel position, but they will arrive at it by, the Nick Fuentes perspective. They will turn around and say like Jews rather than Israel. Okay. That's my fear. My fear is that a lot of the anti-Zionist sentiment turns into anti-Semitism rather than a sincere criticism of Israel as a foreign entity. Okay.
Stork did. We're not going to give you.
He states that talking to you would be a waste of time. His community tries to cope by claiming he's little broing you and not dodging you. I know. It's because it's parasocial, okay? It's parasocial. It's incredibly parasocial. They want to save face. Asmongold wants to save face, and the people that openly say they love Asmongold also want to save face. You both strawman each other and it's depressing. Okay, then tell him to have a conversation with me so I can have a sincere debate. To have a normal conversation where I understand where he's coming from. The problem is, he's the only one who doesn't want to do that.